my mind, I was able to think and process. If I let him get back up, he's gonna get back up. I was like, let me finish this right now. And I caught him with that left hook, and then I caught him again with that right hook just to make sure the job was done, because I was calculating his hands wasn't touching the ground and his knees weren't touching the ground, but I know he was still going down. To make sure he wasn't get back up, I had to let those last two off, man.
Combat Sports Report. Only on SportsGrid.
He's just only 2,300 points behind. So even if he does win at Memphis, he's still going to be behind Scottie Scheffler in the points by 300. So why? I mean, I want Scottie Scheffler to show up in Memphis, but does he need to? If Rory's not showing up and the third place guy, even if he wins, isn't going to pass him?
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
What do you make of the season that Barkley had last year as he piled on the yards to get over 2,000, and what can that look like this year?
His year could have been much better with different circumstances here. So he was great. I assume he'll be great again. You want to take Jahmyr Gibbs? I don't have an issue with it, but, Barkley, yeah, you're going to lose the tush push.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big Fish is the best player in the WNBA. She is running away with the MVP award. Why is that? Caitlin Clark, injured. Asia Wilson, not playing at Asia Wilson level, but it's more about the fact about what's around her has been an issue. So to me, Fish is almost like the MVP because everyone else has gone down in some way, shape, or form.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Time to rise and grind. It is a Tuesday right here on the SportsGrid Network, Sirius XM Channel 159. This is the early line. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Ranieri. Over the next 2 hours, we got you covered on all the hottest topics across the sports landscape. We got football on Thursday night. We had crazy baseball scores last night. We also have some unbelievable action and anticipation of what's going to take place in the month of August. And the reason why, Joe Ranieri, I say August, August is this Friday, people.
Donnie, it's the more I think about it, the more I'm just scratching my head going, wait a minute, didn't we just have March Madness? How in the world are we this close now to kickoff and the NFL and college football and starting a cycle again? I every year I just go, where does the time go? But nobody's arguing once it gets here, I can tell you that.
Absolutely, and away we go. We love to always start with the hottest topics across the sports landscape here in the 7 and 7. And by the way, sometimes we do get caught up in some bad news. Ryan Sandberg, Cubs great, former Philadelphia Philly manager, passes away at the age of 65. If you look back, Joe, at his 16-year career, 1981 started with the Philadelphia Phillies, then obviously went to the Chicago Cubs, 10-time All-Star, 9-time Gold Glover, 7-time Silver Slugger, 1984 NL MVP, and Major League Baseball, one of the best players to come through here. Unbelievable shock, and I know the Cubbies, man, flying that W today in pride for Ryan Sandberg.
That's just awful. I mean, one of the truly all-time greats and good guy. I've never seen anybody have a bad word to say about him as a player ever. And I grew up in those mid '80s watching him go up against the Bruce Sutter and the Cardinals, that Cardinals and Cubs rivalry. And this guy was hitting 40 home runs a season as a second baseman in an era, Donnie, in which you didn't see that kind of production from, middle infielders like that. Unbelievable career, really. And a good guy.
I mean, absolutely fantastic. And by the way, you're right. When you see the highlights there, that's the old Wrigley, people. That's before they had lights and scoreboards in the outfield, and you just see all the fans. And in the summertime, and you talk about that Suter game, I believe it was from June of 1984. A couple home runs, 7 RBI in that game. One of the best to ever do it. Ryan Sandberg passes away at the age of 65. Other baseball news out here. Some think this is a surprise. Some think this is what you get with legalized gambling, but also this is how guys get caught with legalized gambling. Guardians closer Emmanuel Clase on leave over gambling probe. I'm telling you right now, you see last year in the playoffs, didn't perform all that well. This year, now you take a look and say, ooh, what's going on here? And it leads to a probe here. What are we thinking about this for Clase?
You can't fix stupid. I don't know what to say. I mean, in what world do you live in that you think you're going to be able to get away with anything along those lines? I don't get it. To me, it's all about, forget about the gambling thing. To me, this is all about personal responsibility. And if they're found guilty of something, and from what we understood about the Ortiz situation, I'm still trying to figure out how micro betting, where the next pitch is going to be a strike or a ball, is somehow connected to what Ortiz was doing, but somehow now Clase is implicated. I hope we get a better understanding of exactly what's going on here once it's all said and done. But, you can't fix stupid. You just can't.
Paid leave as well. So he's going to get some time off to think about what he's done as they go through and sort of micromanage. And then there's the whole, well, Otani was caught up in a multi-million-dollar gambling scheme. 24 hours later, he's a superstar. We're clearing his name right away. We'll see if Clase gets that same respect. Hint, hint. I doubt that's going to happen at this point here. But also, Major League Baseball, some interesting times where we're probably waiting for the lockout. We've been talking about the WNBA, Joe Ranieri, about, oh, no, they want to get paid more. The reckoning is coming. It looks like Major League Baseball, as much as I like to say this, I don't want a salary cap because of the team I cheer for, the Philadelphia Phillies. Top 5 in payroll every year. A salary cap would actually hurt my team. But for the health of the sport, a salary cap works so many different ways and can be helpful here. But the players, understandably, aren't going to accept the salary cap because they see that as a limit to how much money they can actually make. And Bryce Harper used a couple choice words, basically saying, get the blankety blank out of our clubhouse here when talking about a salary cap. We headed for a shutdown of baseball, Joe. It's what it sounds like.
They do this every year, by the way. The owners have been pushing for a salary cap, and they do it every time negotiations come up. But when you look at the numbers, it's interesting because baseball made $12.1 billion in 2025, right? $12.1 billion is what they're estimated the revenue is going to be. That is a 33% increase over the last decade. Players' salaries during that time have increased 18% as well. If the rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer in Major League Baseball, and good luck ever seeing the Pirates in a World Series, because at this rate, that'll never happen.
Exactly. And the problem with the Pirates in a World Series is they make more money by not even trying to make a World Series. That's what everybody's angry about. Like, the players themselves aren't really angry. Fans in big cities where teams try, they're not angry, but you feel sort of bad for the teams. Like, again, the Pittsburgh Pirates. Like, the NFL has revenue sharing. Why are the Steelers good every single year? Because they can be. They're not relying on, we don't get as much dollars as New York. New York shares those dollars with them. So Pittsburgh goes, all right, if we're really bad and we don't spend any money, we can share that payroll from the luxury tax that comes from the Yankees, Dodgers, Philadelphia Phillies, and what have you, and still make more money. It's a crazy system that works out. But as I preface by saying, they need a salary cap for me, understandably, but me being a Phillies fan, I technically don't want one at that point here. Major League Baseball trade deadline coming up in a few days, Joe. Eugenio Suarez blasted with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Had to get some x-rays. They were negative. Hey, Arizona, you want to keep playing the guy? And if he gets, imagine if he broke that wrist where you can't trade him and he walks as a free agent. Sooner than later, he's got to be out of here. When I mean sooner than later, like today, Joe.
What are they waiting for? I have no idea what they're waiting for. Every time you bring him out to the plate, there's a risk of something happening. So I don't know. Hopefully this will happen way before Thursday.
It should happen. And again, that has to send a scare, because if that x-ray goes the wrong direction, you get nothing. And what were you trying to do? Showcase him as if he needed more home runs, as he's hitting close to 40 already on the season. Tough times in Arizona, but maybe they got a little bit of a reprieve. How about this? Deion Sanders reveals that he was treated for cancer here, bladder removal. This guy's had a lot of issues over the past couple years here, as you take a look at and say to yourself, yo, what's going on here, Deion? This man keeps escaping. He's living right now.
Listen, all seems to be well, knock on wood. Scary situation. Lost a ton of weight. It was very scary situation. But Deion does appear to be back in form and will coach this season. So that's good.
All right, let's back it up a bit here. Walk it off, so what? It's the New York Mets. They lost. We love to see that here. So the Mets get walked off last night by the Padres, despite having a big lead. Stolen home runs from Tatis, grand slams in that game. Didn't matter. Padres walked it off.
Yep, 7-game winning streak out the window for the Mets. Another one of those. Play Sunday Night Baseball, and yep, Monday, fade them.
And how about this? Oh, wide receiver got paid. Awesome. Commanders and Terry McLaurin come to, oh, wait a second. It wasn't Terry McLaurin that came to a deal. No, it's Cortland Sutton. 4 years, $92 million. Scary Terry. Is he going to leave camp now at this point right now? But Sutton gets his money out there with the Broncos.
And listen, well deserved. The guy is a stud, man, and that is a organization now with what they think is a future franchise quarterback that they've gotten, Bo Nix, and yep, you better surround him with guys that can catch the ball, and Cortland Sutton can certainly do that.
Absolutely. A couple other guys got paid there. Raymond, left tackle here, $100 million extension with the Colts. You take a look also at some other options here for Baker Mayfield. Treat the guys with respect. They guarantee him $30 million here before they probably have another extension on deck. Some guys are getting paid and getting treating right from their organizations. Some guys waiting on their money. Talk about waiting on their money. What's class they waiting for here? Let's get into it next, right here on the early line.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The business of Major League Baseball usually is a pitcher, a hitter, hitting home runs, striking guys out, making a paycheck here, looking to get to your next paycheck. Most of the times we don't worry about these pitchers or hitters, let's just say that we're going paycheck to paycheck because they need more money, trying to find other opportunities. Now, in other sports, we found certainly gambling scandals come through, like guys that are on a contract making good money saying, hey, let me throw my boys a bone here. Hey, by the way, listen up, first quarter, I'm going to say my foot hurts, bet all my unders in the game. that's going to get flagged, because when you're a bench warmer or a player that has some odd circumstances around your betting patterns and around your games here, that's going to get flagged now by integrity groups that are monitoring here once we have legalized sports gambling over the past couple years. Now we take a look at Major League Baseball. We had the big Ohtani scandal here, Joe Ranieri, but this one's certainly not as big, but we see players getting caught up in this all the time. And Jeff Passan tweeted out breaking news yesterday. The Cleveland Guardians closer, Emmanuel Clase, has been placed on non-disciplinary paid leave as part of Major League Baseball's sports betting investigation, sources tell ESPN. Clase is the second Guardians pitcher on leave tied to the investigation, joining right-handed Luis Ortiz. So let me ask you this question. Like basketball, football, a little bit easier to determine. But are we just looking at like, oh, Clase is a really good closer? What happened tonight when he couldn't get anybody out? And were there betting irregularities based on the losing of the game or a total? Like, it's so much different for a pitcher than it is per se for a NBA guard that can say, I'm not hitting any threes and I'm just going to try to actually fake an injury and leave the game to cash all these unders, Joe. How do we find out what he's doing and what do you think he was doing?
I have it. The whole thing, I wish they would be a little bit more transparent, Major League Baseball, in what's going on, because this Ortiz thing is going on, what, 2 months now? Donnie, it feels like month and a half. And the only thing that we know is that the irregularities had to do with, micro betting. In other words, guys that are betting whether the next pitch is a strike or a ball. And exactly what is the limit on those kinds of bets, Donnie? Because I mean, how can anything stand out if you can only bet $200 or $500? So I don't understand exactly, unless this is, somebody got busted and, dropped a name here or there. But I don't know how you prove any of that or how any red flag comes about if the limit is 200, 300, 400, 500. Like, I just don't understand what would have made the flagging for that to begin with.
Or just like a guy just being dumb. Hey, I'm going to sign up under the name Emmanuel Clase, and I'm going to bet $1,000 tonight on Cleveland Guardians games that we're going to win, we're going to lose.
That's different.
Somebody's going to get base hit. Like, that's what we're talking about, because the one thing is we don't know, right? Like, we see the Jeff Passan tweet. It doesn't explain it. And the things that always get me mad, like, so-and-so suspension for a violation of the, drug code. But they never released the code. Like, tell me, was it cocaine? Was it marijuana? Was it testosterone? Like, Winstrol? Like, what were we actually doing? So this leaves a lot of vagueness. If that breaking tweet yesterday from Jeff Passan came across your screen, Emmanuel Clase has been determined that he had betting on games or an account linked to it. Like, okay, that makes sense. But again, as we talk about a three-point shooter, a quarterback, a running back, or like a hitter himself, there's not too many bets you can make on Emmanuel Clase in a baseball game. There's no like 2 blow a save in this game, 2 give up an earned run. Like, there's none of that, as opposed to watch me get in this game and throw meatballs right down the middle because I know we'll be up 2 runs and we'll make sure we lose by 1. It's almost impossible to thread that needle. You could throw an 80-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle. Doesn't mean that player's going to hit it and drive in runs.
It doesn't mean that Clase is going to pitch. Like, so, like you're talking about a guy there. There, you don't know if he's going to be involved in the game or what. None of it. I mean, none of it makes any sense, because those kinds of wagers are always limited in scope as far as how much money you can lay down. Nobody is running to the window to drop 50 large there, Donnie, to go, you know what? I bet Clase gives up a hit. And then you still need 2 people to work. He could throw it over a meatball over. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. So that's why, I mean, they need to do a better job of being a little bit more transparent here. What's going on with Ortiz, and how is Clase now involved in this? If it doesn't involve Ortiz and Ortiz, like, because it seems like Ortiz just rolled over on Clase, doesn't it? That's the timing of all of this. Is that what they want?
Correct. Save me, save you. Hey, he's on this too. Or just like a random account that just popped up and had 1 wager, like Clase, or the money line going against the Guardians that was bet live in the 9th inning, and Clase got blown away. Like, hey, let's do this. Maybe it is true, maybe it's not. But you got to be kidding me. Like, these Major League Baseball players making millions of dollars a year, worried about hundreds of dollars that they're trying to pick up on the side. It's a tough time at that point right now. Now, in Major League Baseball, again, betting scandals are going to happen. They're going to get flagged. That's why we have legalized sports gambling. But sometimes we don't hear about the other, implications of finances, where I guess Rob Manfred is almost doing like that tour of around Major League Baseball, like the state of the game. Let me update the players. And when he got to Philadelphia and started talking about Hey, man, looks like maybe salary cap the owners are trying to push for here. Bryce Harper said from Jeff Passan's tweet, stood nose to nose with the Major League Baseball commissioner during a meeting last week and told him to get the blank out of our clubhouse if he wanted to talk about a salary cap, sources told ESPN. So Bryce Harper, a $300 million man, is like, kick rocks, buddy. Trying to make even more money now.
Well, it's so funny because, again, this is something that happens every year. Manfred always meets annually with every Major League Baseball team leading up to this to try to, improve their relationship with the players, the front office, and, of course, you know, the owners pay Rob Manfred. It's the same thing with Roger Goodell. Like, the owners pay those guys millions upon millions of dollars to try and keep the peace as best as possible. And you have more and more owners now in Major League Baseball that keep pushing this salary cap envelope. So the players are like, every time they've done it, last time we had a lockout was what, 94, 95? But it appears guys like Harper are like, don't do it because we'll sit out. We got no problem losing 162 games. We have no problem doing that.
Specifically the guys at the high end. And the reason why is baseball such a strong union? Because the NFL guys realize they got like 2 years to make their money. Hey, I'm not going to sit out an entire year so the next guy can make more money and I didn't make it. And guys like Bryce Harper don't want a salary cap because they make $300 million on their contract here. But there is something in Major League Baseball, like a fine-tooth comb that can help everybody. If you're looking like as a union, protect the highest guys and the lowest guys. The salary cap floor is something they absolutely have to look at because that means everybody on the bottom shelf makes more money. And you kidding me, Bryce Harper, you're still going to make your $300 million at the top end of that spectrum here. Let's talk more Major League Baseball, NL Central style next.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, you know, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Christopher Sanchez of the Philadelphia Phillies is one of 3 Major League Baseball pitchers to have a 7-start span featuring an undefeated record, a sub-1.5 ERA, 50 or more innings pitched, 50 or more strikeouts, fewer than 5 walks, no more than 1 home run allowed.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 18.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Lost Pages. Let's get lucky.
NL Central, that is the focus right now. And who would know? Usually in the American League Central and the National League Central, you just pass over. It's like, yeah, we know the Cubs are in that division, or let's just say the Guardians are in the AL Central, and they have some good baseball teams, but it's usually on the coast, right? It's the big ball clubs, the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies. You take a look at the New York Yankees and the Boston Red Sox. Like, those teams are factoring into World Championships, spending money, and get the majority of the eyeballs on TV. But if you're not watching this race right now in the NL Central, you are doing it wrong, people. Last night, the Brewers 8-4 win over the Cubs. You now see the record here: 63 wins for the Brewers, 62 for the Cubs, 44 losses for the Cubs, 43 for the Milwaukee Brewers. They're in first place now. And I got to tell you, 12 runs yesterday scored in that game came as a bit of a surprise, because we talked how good Boyd has been over the past 60 days. He goes 5 innings, pitched 5 earned runs yesterday. That guy's ERA was like a 0.95 over the past 30 days. It rises to 2.47 on the season now. Mizorowski, one of those kids we didn't know how long he would go for. He went 80 pitches, but only made it through 4 innings and gave up 3 runs, 2 of those earned yesterday. A great victory for the Brewers yesterday, and an over. And it just goes to show you, the Brewers just, it's Yelich and a bunch of people, it feels like, and that's good enough to get the job done.
Yeah, well, there was a bit of a scare in that game too, because Mizorowski ended up taking a shot off his left, or one of his knees too, on a comebacker, which kind of everyone was like, whoa, what's going to happen here? He threw a wild pitch. He allowed a run to score. It was not a good start from Mizorowski, but when your team hits 3 home runs in a game, and all of a sudden, listen, Boyd, we talked about it yesterday. Nice pitcher, having a unbelievable season. It's an outlier season. How much of this is really just it all coming together, and how much of it, what I think we saw last night from Boyd is a little more indicative of what he's been like over his whole career than what we have been seeing this season. So to me, at some point, guys are going to have these kinds of games in which maybe it's reverting a little bit closer to the medium, which is exactly the kind of pitcher I think Matthew Boyd is anyway.
Yeah, take a look yesterday, like the big four, like they call for the Chicago Cubs here: Bush, Tucker, Suzuki, and Pete Crow Armstrong. Out of that group, Pete Crow Armstrong actually went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts yesterday. Base knock for Suzuki. Tucker had an RBI yesterday, a couple walks. Michael Bush, 2 base hits in that game, but Pete Crow Armstrong not able to help them out. But 8 runs scored. Why? Because Christian Yelich, he's hitting 258. It seems like he's hitting 358, because every time I go to look at a Brewers game, it seems like he's doing most of the damage. 2 of 4 last night, 3 ribs, and also included a home run in that game. But if we put our focus here on the Central moving forward, like, the Brewers are here to stay. This isn't, hey, Joe, the Brewers are really good in April. Like, no, April, May, June, July, into August now, 63 and 43. But we look at the Cubs, it feels like they just have more star power. But when you break it down, and you're right, looking at the starting pitching staff and the bullpen here, it's a Brewers advantage. And that's what I see right now.
And you'll see it again today when you got, now you're going to follow that up with Colin Ray. I mean, come on. Priester's been good. I just think top to bottom, from a pitching standpoint, yes, you're right. More star power on the Cubs in that lineup. But when you go to the bullpen and you go to starting pitching, there is no doubt to me that Milwaukee is heads and tails above what this Cubs team is. And that's going to matter over the next 2 months here, Donnie, heading into the postseason.
Yeah, take a look at the pennant race here in the National League. The Dodgers always going to be out front here in first place at a plus 125 price in the odds market. The New York Mets at a plus 470 price. Lost yesterday. The Phillies had a terrible loss against the Chicago White Sox, sitting at 5-1. But there we go. The Chicago Cubs at 7-1. The Milwaukee Brewers at 8-1. The Padres, who beat the Mets last night, who I have my eye on at a 16-1 price. And away we go. But the Brewers, I would say, Joe, right? We probably can agree. Dodgers, Mets, Phillies, Cubs, Brewers, Padres. The team that's probably getting the least amount of respect in the odds market probably would be the Brewers at an 8-1 price.
And yet you've got a team up there at plus 125, which is just laughable, because how many times have they beaten Milwaukee this year? I'm just curious, Donnie. How many times have the Dodgers beaten the Brewers? The Brewers have smoked them, and they've owned them all year long. Don't think that's going to change here. The last team I want to play if I'm the Dodgers for a pennant is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, exactly. And you take a look at the Central Division here at the odds race there for them just to win it. The Cubs still the favorite at a minus 130 price. The Milwaukee Brewers sitting at a plus 110. Then there's the Reds at 65-1. The Cardinals at 80-1. And other teams certainly left off of that diamond. But for me, it's interesting. And by the way, 2 more days to go before that trade deadline. Who makes that move, Joe, in that division that could put them over the top, could make a difference?
Yeah. Who's the seller in that division? I think the Cardinals are about to unload.
Yeah, come on now. The Cardinals have been trying to unload for years. Like, come take our players, Nolan Arenado and, Goldschmidt and all those. They weren't supposed to have a good season at the beginning. They actually have a decent season, but it probably is time to sell at this point. More Major League Baseball headlines next, right here on the early line.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Christopher Sanchez of the Philadelphia Phillies is one of 3 Major League Baseball pitchers to have a 7-start span featuring an undefeated record, a sub-1.5 ERA, 50 or more innings pitched, 50 or more strikeouts, fewer than 5 walks, no more than 1 home run allowed.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple 18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Playing online blackjack and want to try upping your odds? Well, here's a tip. Cheat cards tell you statistics for whether you hit or stand on every move. If you're into stats, this could be your ticket to winning. And it is totally legal. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Headlines in Major League Baseball yesterday. We'll go over some scores in just a few moments, and one pertaining to the Detroit Tigers, a 5-1 victory over the Arizona Diamondbacks. But the biggest story of that game was like, hey, man, finally, we had a win for the Detroit Tigers, it feels like. And Melton went 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, and a great start here. But the biggest question mark coming into this one was Eugenio Suarez, when is he going to get traded? To the biggest answer would have been like, oh, no. He just broke his wrist because he got hit with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, but X-rays were negative. And for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are sellers right now, almost lost their biggest commodity because they keep playing him, trying to hold out for a better deal before the trade deadline. So let's start here, Joe. Eugenio Suarez, we know, is going to get dealt. He's not playing today, I would assume, and or Thursday. And if he does, the heck is going on with the Diamondbacks right now, Joe?
Yeah, no, not what, 1 run. So that's 1 run in the last 3 games. I think they only scored 1 on Friday too, as well. Yeah. It's just, you can tell it's a locker room and a lineup in flux right now, because this time of year, this is not unique. We see it every year leading up to the trade deadline, where you got some teams that are used to being buyers and competing, and now all of a sudden, well, ownership's going, yeah, no, it's time to hit the reset button. And what you're getting is a byproduct of that. I mean, they can't hit it all. It's hilarious how bad they are right now. And this was a team that was a constant over bet for me for long stretches this season. But now, now you can just tell everyone's waiting for that, the call to come in where, hey, sorry, you've been traded kind of thing.
Yeah, losers of 6 of 7
Mhm.
games now. And we talk about this so many times where you're right about this, Joe. Let's just go back like a month ago. You look at that 1 through 9 lineup. It's fun to bet the team totals. They're waiting for the pitching to come around.
Yep.
Is Zach Gallen going to, resurface as an ace pitcher that we need? But this lineup should be able to carry us through. And now it's getting piecemealed to other teams right now. And also, lose of 6 of 7 games, the team's selling. How are they a bet on team for you right now, even looking on a day-to-day basis? They're pros. They want to get their base hits. They're pros. They want to pitch and have, strikeouts and good performances on the mound. But there's nothing worse than working in that type of environment right now until the bottom might fall out on the organization by Thursday, right? You take a look saying, well, all these guys could be gone. And then Eugenio Suarez gets hit yesterday. Good time for the Tigers, right? Maybe they can capitalize because Suarez probably isn't going to be back in that lineup until he is dealt at this point. And we'll wait. Trade deadline, 6 p.m. on Thursday. Today's Tuesday. So roughly 48 or so hours to go. And we'll find out where Eugenio Suarez is actually going to be on his next team. Or could he just trade locker rooms from what we're hearing, Joe Ranieri, in this series?
That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Where, hey man, listen, you got to go across the hall because, you've been traded to Detroit. It's an interleague matchup, so it's interesting from that standpoint. Where it's not like Arizona's trading them to the Giants or the Dodgers. It's Detroit. So, and Detroit, from what we understand, certainly has the ability not only to get Suarez, but if they wanted to sign him to a longer term deal, they could do that. They've got the pieces in order, certainly from a farm system perspective. Detroit's in a good spot here if that's the direction they want to go. And boy, wouldn't that be interesting, since you just hit your guy that's going to be on your team here in the next 24 hours.
Yeah, whoever the current third baseman on the Tigers who's looking to come up like, hey, man, here's a couple dollars. Just make sure this guy doesn't make it onto our roster here for this playoff run that we have. But we'll see what happens. Eugenio Suarez hit with a pitch, x-rays back negative. We'll see where he goes with his next ball club here probably in the next 24 hours. The San Diego Padres found themselves down yesterday, 5-1 entering into the bottom of the 5th inning. That's okay, though. They dropped 5 runs in the bottom of the 5th and then another run in the bottom of the 9th to walk it off. 7-6 victory over the New York Mets. I like the Padres, 58-49. I think they could have lightning in a bottle. And for the New York Mets, they're playing good baseball. You can't win every game, but at the same time, boy, when you got a 5-1 lead here and you're cruising, and you already saw playing on the West Coast that the Philadelphia Phillies struggle with the White Sox, that's when you could put a feather in your cap. Didn't happen. The Padres came back and knocked off the Mets 7-6 last night.
Yeah, and it was good, too, because I believe the Mets also, I think, in the top of the night was Mauricio that ended up hitting he tied the game up, I think, off of Suarez, which is kind of crazy. And, the guy was leading all of Major League Baseball in saves, and they end up tying it up only to get walked off there in the bottom half of that inning. But listen, Dylan Cease, if he is he a guy that is also possible trade situation here? I don't know. He looked pretty good to me last night. Managed to go 6, didn't he? I think he struck out, 9? He was pretty good there last night.
Yeah. Yep. By the way, talking about looking good and heading down the back stretch, let me just give you a box score here of our next game, and then we'll try to get to the root of all these issues. Framber Valdez. Now, you have money in your pocket, Joe. You're walking into a sports book. You're like, you know what? I'm going to get down on a game tonight. And I said, you know what, Joe? Come over here for a minute. Let me just tell you a stat line. Framber Valdez is going to go 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run, and 12 strikeouts against the Nationals. I'm going to give you a plus 100 price either side. Where would you go? It probably would be towards the Astros. Well, if you did that, they lost 2-1 because they couldn't hit Brad, oh my good Lord, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 1 earned run to match Framber Valdez. The Astros dropped their 5th consecutive game when it looked like they were going to run away with the AL West, now getting brought back and sinking like an anchor right now.
Yeah, well, again, the injuries are really starting to catch up here with the Houston Astros, and it doesn't look like any of it is getting any better anytime soon. And this is case in point. This has been the problem now over the last week, Donnie. We talked about it yesterday with Houston, that you can't at home. They can't win a game at home now, Donnie. They're not even on the road, and this has always been one of the best teams to back when they are home and as a favorite like they were yesterday. But if you can't score runs, it doesn't really matter. And right now that lineup looks absolutely lost. And great under team too, by the way, now.
By the way, it is really bad. Like, again, last night the lineup, like Trammell started, 271 average. Hummel pinch hit, 160 average. Whitcomb, 107 average. Jose Altuve, 277. And he's, instead of being a leadoff guy, they got this guy in the cleanup role. Victor Caratini, 261. Walker, 236. Melton, 219. Diaz, 244. Dubon, 258. Matthews, 143. Short, 205. Give me some help here. Some of these guys got to come back off the IL before it's too late because they have the talent when healthy. But you're right. Looking at that roster right here, and Valdez like, man, what more do I have to do? I don't know. 16 strikeouts? Shut the other ball club out? Bad loss for a national team that's flailing around as well. But now, 5th straight loss here for the Houston Astros. Other trade trackers, and sometimes I say, like, why? Like, Chris Paddock is on the move, as if that's going to change, like, the landscape of, Detroit or Milwaukee getting Danny Jansen. These moves will come down as those ancillary trades. I can't wait until we see the goods of when that pressure starts to bust on Thursday, and some of these teams know they have to make moves, and moves will be made. But we're already starting right now, Joe. We're going to probably get an avalanche of trades today, tomorrow, and right into Thursday.
Yeah, it's that's the and again, you're going to have a lot of locker rooms and a lot of guys uneasy here for the next couple of days until they can actually exhale because they know they're either still going to be on the team here and they don't have to worry about, switching cities and everything else. So, yes, it will come to fruition here over the next 48 hours. But I think a lot of guys like Chris Paddock, for instance, you're going to see these because these guys can eat up a ton of innings the remainder of the regular season that, that you can save your top end arms and you can get some depth from a starting pitching perspective. There's a lot of those guys available right now as well.
How about the dead pitching staff here? These are the times I like because Atlanta doesn't want to bring up any of their younger guys to start the clock. So like, all right, Eric Fetty wasn't good enough to be Major League Baseball. Come on down.
Exactly.
Carlos Carrasco, come on down. Let's eat some innings right now. Let's have some fun because we don't want to get our young guys in the Major League Baseball just yet. The Braves will be an interesting one over the next couple months here as we take a look at the close out the Major League Baseball season. But other guys, look, Josh Naylor hit his first home run last night for the Seattle Mariners, and that was certainly important. Then Chris Bubich, all-star here for the Royals, going to miss the rest of the Major League Baseball season. Tough blow there for the Kansas City Royals, Joe.
Yeah, well, you kind of knew something was up when he opened up the game with, I think, 4 or 5 walks consecutively in that second game of the doubleheader over the weekend. It was not good there at all, and that's unfortunate, too. Is Reagan's ever coming back, by the way?
Who knows, man? Maybe who? Ronald Reagan? Which Reagan's we talking about right here? Coming up next, we're talking Colorado Buffaloes, people. Let's get after it.
New to casinos and not sure what to play? Well, try Blackjack first. It has a lower house advantage compared to other table games, making it especially player-friendly. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Y'all know where I'm going. And yeah, you can call it Knicks bias all you want. I'm taking the Knicks to come out of the East. I look at this New York team and think that Mike Brown is an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau. You may disagree. I don't care. I look at the fact of getting Yabusele and Clarkson off the bench is going to make the Knicks more dangerous.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Tiger used to really annoy me because all he did was win, and I was like, gosh, I just want to see some drama. I want to see Phil challenge him. I want to see some magic down the stretch and have Tiger pull it out in miracle-like fashion, like Rory just did at the Masters, when something is really compelling like that. Scotty sucks the drama right out of the golf tournament as well. He just doesn't do it with all the panache.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
He was already doing the dusting of the spot of where this one was going to go after Augusta this year. And the players, he's had this insane start to the year. We won 3 times. Surely Scotty Scheffler isn't going to have a resume by July that's going to be way better. It's just, there's no way. But here we are. It's Scotty Scheffler with 2 majors on the year.
The Smiley Show, only on SportsGrid.
Right back out of here for the early line. It is a glorious day because why? Football is on the horizon for it. We can see it coming in both the NFL and in college football. But sometimes, Joe Ranieri, we sit back and say, count your blessings out here. Because yes, professionally, we love to do what we do. Football players love to play football. Coaches love to coach. Content providers love to give content here. So when we take a look at Deion Sanders, he's coming into the season with a new perspective. We got a video yesterday from a press conference that Deion gave and saying, you know what? Here's the update.
You've kind of touched on it, but what was it like staring death in the face and dealing with the reality?
I didn't stare death in my face. I stared life in the face, man. I stared, man, you think I'm playing when I tell you I'm God's guy. I really am. I'm allowed to go through these trials and tribulations so that I could touch and reach and bless people with my words, with the energy, with that thing that God gave me. So I never thought about no death. I had to make a will because I want to be a business. I want to be a good steward, for my kids and for my family. But no, I got too much life to be thinking about death. Too much life. I got too much life in me, and I got work to do. We had to win the third championship. You talking about death? No. God definitely ain't getting ready to take me before that.
Sometimes it's hard to stay positive, know what the situation is. And you take a look at Deion. Like, certainly lived a blessed life. I mean, an unbelievable high school football player, fantastic in college, goes to the NFL first-round draft pick for Atlanta, has a great career, makes a lot of money, made a lot of money as a TV analyst, making even more money now as a coach for the Colorado Buffaloes. But to say that positive after all the trials and tribulations and the health issues that he's had over the past, decade, to still come in front of that microphone and say, I got energy, I'm lucky, I love to be here, and let's get it started, man. That says a lot.
And he's, unfortunately been down this road before because he had to miss time when he was with Jackson State because he had blood clots, if you recall. I think he had a couple of toes amputated because of it. So this is, he's been down this road, and this guy has been, like he said, I've done this, so I know what's going on here. And the fact that he was able to recognize it and then deal with it, because I believe he found it back in May. So this has been a heck of a last couple of months, and now he is ready to go here. And I wouldn't bet against him this season here at all in any way, shape, or form.
And the main thing he was preaching about there is always go get checked out into something us as guys never like to do, and that's including myself, where if you do go get checkups regularly, they catch these things early and they can handle them as opposed to catching them too late. So maybe the biggest win yesterday was Deion up there not talking about his football season and what he thinks going to take place there. But, hey, you know what? Let me get this PSA out here. Go ahead and get checked. Look, it worked for me here. And certainly keep believing here that you can get better, even if you do get some of these circumstances here, which takes a look next at the Colorado Buffaloes coming up in 2025. A lot of major changes. No more Shedeur Sanders as quarterback here. You have Travis Hunter in the NFL. And we take a look at their win total at 5.5 games. This will be interesting because they got a quarterback transfer here in Caden Salter. They also have an offensive line that's going to return, Joe, their bookend tackles, both right and left tackle, and they hit the transfer portal hard to pick up a center and a couple guards here. So it looks like they're going to have a better offensive strategy from an offensive line standpoint, but it's hard to replace some of the talent that they lost here in the upcoming season, Joe.
Well, and this is where coaching comes into play, right? So, he did great in the portal, like you said, and he's got some players there. The question is now, him and that coaching staff can they put it together? Can they get 6 wins on the season, Donnie? I wouldn't bet against him. It was a little different with his son under center there, but I do think the pressure maybe is going to be a little bit off of him this year, and I think they might be able to surprise a few guys.
Yeah, and that's also because you're looking at, look at the talent that they lost. There's no way they can do that. But if you're better on the offensive line, which Shedeur took a ton of sacks last year, and you get a veteran quarterback, it's not if you're breaking in, well, I got a 4-star kid coming out of high school. He's a freshman. You got a kid that's been around the block, man. Where's he been? Tennessee, Liberty, played a lot there and had some success. Now comes over to Colorado to let him fly. So maybe some fun times, but you're right. Last year's success was let's get to a bowl game and see if we can win it. They did get to a bowl game. They didn't win that. But now you have a tougher schedule as it's perceived, and the expectations aren't as high. Maybe they do surprise some people, certainly, next year in the Big 12. But we saw some of those notes and prices here. The 5.5 team total, which isn't a lot. 6 gets you bowl eligible. The Big 12 title, 31-1 price. To reach the college football playoff, 18-1. And then to win a championship, 900-1, which is probably not feasible. But expectations heading into the season, Georgia Tech at home, Delaware at home before they go on the road to Houston. Maybe they can pick a few up wins against Haynes King and those Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. By the way, if I told you right now, I mean, they can't be 0-2 if they're hosting Delaware, right? Like, Delaware's not going to go in and beat Colorado. So at least you got one win before you go on the road there to Houston.
Yeah, well, and by the way, I mean, look-ahead lines for that Houston game is almost a pick 'em anyway. So I don't know that I would I'd be saying it's a gimme for Houston. They got Wyoming after that at home, and Wyoming is going through all sorts of changes as well. Yeah, I mean, Craig Bowl is gone.
Home games.
He feels like he's been there forever. There are a lot of there to me in the first 5 games. 2 or 3 wins, you're halfway there for the rest of the season. Donnie, to get up and over that 5.5.
There you go. And the one thing you can do in college football, which Deion's been upset with, is like, man, this pay scale is way out of balance. Well, in the NFL, the pay scale is way high. And if you can afford some of those high-end players, you have a better football team. Ian Rappaport yesterday tweeted out the Broncos have agreed to terms on a new contract extension for wide receiver Cortland Sutton, sources tell the insiders. It's a 4-year, $92 million deal, the deal done by Milk and Honey Sports. How about that? Hey, by the way, is your agent Milk and Honey Sports, Joe? Did I get that right?
Well, it should be. It should be at this point. I mean, if you're going to get dudes that kind of price here, I think we ought to get into to Milk and Honey. But I like it. I like the direction of the Denver Broncos. I mean, at some point, Kansas City's got to take a step back, right? I love Bo Nix. I think right guy in the right coach in the right system. And now you got a 29-year-old wide receiver who's an absolute stud and will be your number 1 target from here on out. I think it's all good here with Denver.
By the way, you take a look at that. And again, the price points, are always just about like how much money they're going to be guaranteed. And there's an escape clause. But 4 years, $92 million comes out to $23 million per year. Like Terry McLaurin was offered about that deal from the Commanders. He wants into the 30s right now, as he said. Yep. We might be looking at it like no standoff here, obviously, with Cortland Sutton. We might be looking at an absolute standoff there in Washington with what Terry McLaurin wants and what they actually want to pay him. But each and every day we see guys get paid out here. And the guys that aren't being paid, they're going to get just a little bit more upset more on a day-to-day basis. More NFL talk next. The 99 Club, people. Find out what that is next.
Shamar Stewart is having troubles before he even plays a snap. And he's seeing what's happened to the stars of this football team, by the way, right? The Higgins stuff wasn't super smooth. The Hendrickson stuff's not smooth.
But why pay him that big number where you've got Trey Henderson, who's an absolute superstar at edge? You always build a defense. Why haven't the Bengals been back to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years? It's real simple.
Game time decisions only on SportsGrid.
Drummond gives you minutes off the bench. I've always been a big Kelly Oubre guy. And Nick Nurse is supposed to be one of the top 5 coaches in the world. You can't tell me that at 12-1, the Philadelphia 76ers are at least something you need to consider as a sleeper to make it to the NBA Finals.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
He'll be your reserve, your extra guy here. Listen, we all need that. I say this all the time about outfielders. Most leagues, I don't know about your league, but we start 5 outfielders. Even if you're in a 10-team league, that's 50 outfielders. Plus you got some guys at utility. Plus you got some guys on reserve. 70 outfielders are gone. All right, so outfielders are extremely valuable here, and Moniak, if he's available, is a nice guy to pick up right now.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
I feel they're all completely justified. You know, the numbers, they're nearly identical. And speaking of identical, I don't know if you saw that one, Craig. That was pretty wild. From winning their first major to winning their fourth major, both Tiger Woods and Scottie Scheffler completed that task in exactly 1,197 days. Both of them, in the exact amount of days, won their fourth major.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The 99 Club. Find out what that is. By the way, like before the people out there probably know, the kids in this market, right? But the 99 Club is a very big deal in John Madden football, and a couple guys have been named in the 99 Club. Like over the years, like if I go through, Joe, we can have some fun with this because we've all been there. 1980s, I think it was like the late 1980s. I remember playing my first edition of like John Madden football, and it was like revolutionary. Like you had the ambulance come out, it used to run over the players. Madden was commentating in the background, and it was something we haven't seen before. And just that surge between the 80s and the 90s and into the 2000s that we have now, it's really become iconic where you waited at GameStop at 12 midnight, like in the early 2000s, to get that game. Everybody played it. Then the advent of being able to play players online, which turned into a whole commodity where people were just hooked on it, playing 24/7 a day. Madden football has always been an institution here. I don't play it anymore. I wish I did have time to play video games. Loved Call of Duty throughout the years, Battlefield, Modern Combat, all that great stuff here. But Madden has always been a tradition. It seems like the young kids play it, and all the way people into like their 60s are still getting this game and playing it as a big deal.
Yeah, for a lot of years, Adi, it was just go out and get the new Madden. Even if you played it once, just go out and get it. And it started back in the Sega Genesis days, which is what is how far back it goes. And then, of course, the PlayStations of the world, and it's just gotten over the top. But yeah, it's some guys have the very first one through the very last one, and I can see it because it's a part of a lot of people's lives, and it always will be.
By the way, I don't know if we have the graphic that we can show, like the Adam Schefter tweet from yesterday. I don't know if we have it behind the scenes, but it put out sort of like the Madden images of the players, and it says like the 99 Club. And up top, it looks like 7 total players, which is Lane Johnson, Lamar Jackson, Jamar Chase, Saquon Barkley, Justin Jefferson, Josh Allen, and Myles Garrett. But the font is so small for the players that you know who they are, but Saquon Barkley is up front. And I'm telling you, if anybody's watching the television side right now, listening on the radio, if you go and hit the 99 Club, look at the Schefter tweet, how is that supposed to be Saquon Barkley as the front of the picture, Joe? Like, it looks like just a generic player that cuts off the actual numbers, and you can't tell it's him. Like, if you put out the 99 Club, like, who is that? Is that, that might be, I actually thought it was at first? Like, Jalen Carter, defensive tackle.
Yes.
I had no idea it was Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, he shouldn't be making the 99 Club at all in any way, shape, or form, by the way, until he actually, until he gets, Jalen Carter here. It's like, stop it. Right. It should not be anywhere on there here. But that is a pretty good list that they have there, right? Yeah. I mean, when you look at some of these guys here with Lamar and then Josh and Barkley and it's all the right players. They haven't really missed on this here yet. So there's not any argument I can come up with any of these guys and be like, there's no way Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase should be on this. No argument.
Like, it's the 90, like, does that mean you can't tackle them now? We all love the 99 players. And also from Madden football, like, it was the first football game or video game that threw in the weather elements. Like, every time we played, it was always in the snow. And you slipped and slide all over the field. It was a lot of fun to have that. But also, if looking from an odd standpoint here, right? Lamar Jackson, a plus 430 MVP, rightfully so, in 99. Josh Allen, 6-1 MVP. Saquon Barkley, plus 550 price for Offensive Player of the Year. Jamar Chase, a 9-1 price at Offensive Player of the Year. Justin Jefferson, 11-1 Offensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, plus 750. And Lane Johnson, 6-time Pro Bowl. We don't have those Protector of the Year odds just yet. So if we have that graphic up there, right, if you want to keep it up for one more moment, which number would you take for which player? It's like you have one bet. Which bet are you making on that board right there?
I think I would have to go Jefferson. I really do. I think that's just going to get the most play. What is it, 11-1 there with the
yes.
I kind of like it. Yeah, I like Jefferson or Chase. I think it's going to be a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a good point you bring up. I think Chase is going to have a monster season, depending on what we get out of Cincinnati defense. But I'm kind of down right now on Justin Jefferson, Joe. Like, you get the word out of training camp that he's already bothered with the hamstring here. It's a new quarterback. But also, there's added advantages to that. And hear me out on this, because when you have a wide receiver like Justin Jefferson, and you are a de facto rookie quarterback coming in, let me tell you something after 2 games. If that wide receiver thinks he's not getting the football, he's going to make J.J. McCarthy's life absolutely hell right off the bat. So to overcompensate, who are you throwing to? Tight end? Hey, you got a good one. I understand it. Another wide receiver? Yeah, you got a decent one on the other side. But if Justin Jefferson isn't getting his footballs, Joe, come on now. He's going to be upset. Pressure's going to be on.
And coaching matters. And they got a pretty good offensive one in Minnesota to figure out a way to get him the damn ball. Put the ball in the hands of your best players.
Get him the damn ball. Absolutely. I'm going to put the ball in your hands coming up next year, Joe. Fade the public. It's up next. Come on now.